reading few pages of Thinking Fast and Slow to Improve My English. This book presents many current understanding of judgments and decisions making, which has been shaped by physiological discoveries of recent decades. However, I trace the central ideas of that lucky day in 1969 when I asked a colleague to speak as a guest to a seminar. I was teaching in the Department of Psychology at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Amos Tversky was considered a rising star in the field of decision research indeed, in anything he did, so I knew we would have an interesting time. Many people who knew Amos thought he was the most intelligent person they had ever met. He was brilliant, vocal, and charismatic. He was also blessed with perfect memory for jokes and an exceptional ability to use them and make a point. There was never a dull moment when Amos was around. He was then 32. I was 35. Amos told the class about an ongoing program of research at the University of Michigan that sought to answer this question. Are people good intuitive statisticians? We already knew that people are good intuitive grammarians. At age 4, a child effortlessly conforms to the rules of grammar as she speaks, although she has no idea that such rules exist. Do people have similar intuitive feelings for the basic principles of statistics? Amos reported that the answer was qualified yes. We had a lively debate in the seminar and ultimately concluded that a qualified no was a better answer. Amos and I enjoyed the exchange and concluded that intuitive statistics was an interesting topic and that it would be fun to explore it together. That Friday, we met for lunch at Café Raymond, the favorite hangout of bohemians and professors in Jerusalem, and planned a study of the statistical intuitions of sophisticated researchers. We had concluded in the seminar that our own intuitions were deficient in spite of years of teaching and using statistics. We had not developed an intuitive sense of the reliability of statistic results observed in the small samples. Our subjects' judgments were based. We were far too willing to believe research findings based on inadequate evidence and prone to collect too few observations in our own research. The goal of our study was to examine whether other researchers suffered from the same affliction. We prepared a survey that included realistic scenarios of statistical issues that arise in research. Amos collected the responses of a group of expert participants in meetings of the Society of Mathematical and Psychology, including the author of 2 statistical textbooks. As expected, we found that our expert colleagues like us greater exaggerated the likelihood that the original result was an experimental would be successfully replicated even with a small sample. They gave a very poor advice to fictitious graduate students about the numbers of observations she needed to collect. Even statisticians were not good intuitive statisticians. While writing the article that reported these findings, Amos and I discovered that we enjoyed working together. Amos was always very funny, and in his presence I became funny as well. So we spent hours of solid work in continuous amusements. The pleasure we found in working together made us exceptionally patient. It is much easier to strive for perfection when you are never bored. Perhaps most important, we checked our critical weapons at the door. Both Amos and I were critical and argumentative. He even more than I. But during the years of our collaboration, neither of us ever rejected out of hand anything the other said. Indeed, one of the great joys I found in the collaboration was that Amos frequently saw the point of my vague ideas much more clearly than I did. Amos was the more logical thinker, with an orientation to theory and an unfailing sense of direction. I was more intuitive and rooted in the psychology of perception, from which we borrowed many ideas. We were sufficiently similar to understand each other easily, and sufficiently different to surprise each other. We developed a routine in which we spent much of our working days together, often long walks. For next 14 years, our collaboration was the focus of our lives, and the work we did together during those years was the best either of us ever did. We quickly developed a practice that we maintained for many years. Our research was a conversation in which we invented questions and jointly examined our intuitive answers. Each question was a small experiment, and we carried out many experiments in a single day.